When we found it, there was an immediate press blackout. The military came in and took over command. The object was towed to a secret military base and studied for years. I joined the program after nearly 50 annums. I was still green, right out of training when I joined, but my family had a long history of military service, and I've been deemed not a security risk. I've been stationed there most of my career. I worked my way through the ranks and was now a ranking officer. A few more annums, and I could retire. In the time I had been here, I had served in most of the departments. There were a few people like me who knew what was going on, but weren't actually involved in the research. Administrative positions, security personnel, and a few others. There was a buzz in the air on base that day. A promising project was about to be completed, and if it paid off, the ramifications were world-changing. After all these years, we knew what it was we had found. A ship. A spacecraft. But not one from our planet. The corridors were too short, too narrow. The controls were marked in an unknown language. We had spent decades deciphering the language, and even more time reverse engineering the ship and all its systems. Mapping every wire, every chip, every fuse. We learned a lot from that alone. It took dedicated teams whole careers to decipher what each component did. Even longer to decode the software that ran the ship. And now, here we were, on the verge of actually reactivating a device of alien origin. As the Chief Military Liaison Officer, I was standing off to one side. I was standing next to the lab's Managing Director, and a couple of other admin types. In the test chamber, a group of techs were scurrying around, hooking up various support devices, diagnostic tools, data recorders, and more. Today, for the first time, we will be powering up the communications device from the craft. We finally had enough knowledge to decipher how it worked, and hopefully, how to interpret any messages that came across. There was a buzz in the room, which slowly died down as the final connections were made and the final checks were completed. "Wish me luck," said the lead scientist on the project. I said a silent prayer. The last switch was thrown, and the screen of the device glowed a pale blue. What we assumed were letters were scrolling across the screen. A camera recorded everything. A tech who was fluent in the alien language states that it was some sort of boot sequence. After several minutes, the screen cleared, and all that remained was a blinking cursor. Everyone sat with bated breath. The device appeared to be functioning. "Proceed with the test message," the project lead said. The tech at the keyboard laboriously typed out a message. "Is anyone there?" in glowing blue letters. The tech inhaled deeply, holding it in. He hit the return key. Sensors and data recorders started to scream as massive amounts of data nearly overwhelmed them. The message moved from the bottom to the top of the screen. The cursor sat, blinking endlessly, for what felt like hours. After several millicycles, letters began to crawl across the screen. "Unknown signal. Please advise call sign." "I think they want us to identify the ship, sir," said the tech. "What should I tell them?" "Makes sense. We retire comms data every few annums. The one from the ship is probably long expired," I said, being familiar with the communication protocols we used. "Should we tell them we found their ship and ask where to find the call sign?" "Do it. We don't want to keep them waiting," I said. As the Chief Military Liaison, it was my call. "Relay message, sir." The tech began to type. After several messages back and forth, we were stalling for time, trying to find the call signs they were looking for. Someone had brought up a database of images. On one of the whole place were a string of numbers and letters we had never been able to decode. We decided to try it. If we were right, we would progress the dialogue. If we were wrong, we bought more time. EXP-05A. Please hold the line. After a few minutes, the terminal started to take letters across the screen. Please identify, who is this? That ship has been missing for nearly 300 years. What colony are you on? Sir, what should we tell them? All eyes turned towards me. Tell them the truth. It's not likely they can do anything but cut us off. It's either that or open communication between us, I said. I had been briefed by command how to proceed, and it was decided that lying was no way to open communication with a more technologically advanced civilization. We found your ship floating for our system when it passed between a stellar camera and our sun. That was 80 solar rotations ago. We have no colony worlds. Greetings from Durgan. The terminal blinked blue for another eternity. Finally, it started moving again. Greetings from Earth.